I have a fun fact. I would like to share a fun fact about what I read about you on use of AI. To get personal. I think you said something very honest. You said that the first time you tested ChatGPT, I think it was, it scored higher than you. So, and you got some serious imposter syndrome. By the way, it's a fun fact, but I think it's something that many other people are experiencing right now. Leaders, they feel like, God, this guy, AI, knows way more than that. He has a perspective that I didn't consider before. It's a learning opportunity, clearly. But you think could be intimidating for leaders at some point using AI so extensively in the organization?
Yeah, and I think for leaders to experience this and also understand this is what a lot of people in your organization are going through. There's a sense
Yes.
of loss of identity, of grief, that the way that the world worked, the way I saw myself no longer
Mm,
is here.
mm,
And to give ourselves a space and a grace and understanding to mourn that sense, and then to say, okay, I need to move on. And it's just like grief, it just will pop up at different points. So the experiment I did was I had done a podcast and I had my answers, and I gave the podcast questions to AI and said, answer them as if you were Charlene Li. And I took the answers and gave them to people to score. And AI did about 80% as good as me, and in some places did a better job than I did. And like, oh my goodness, and this is a really early version of ChatGPT 3.5.
yeah,
And
imagine
I'm like, "Oh
now.
my
Yeah.
goodness, it's so good now." And
Yeah.
I'll share another experience. I recently had to pull together a script for a webinar I was recording, and I was going to be reading off a teleprompter. And I'm sitting there practicing with the script, and like, it doesn't sound like me. And what I realized is that the way I write and the way I talk are two different ways that I express
Mm,
myself. So I took the script, gave it to AI, and said, rewrite this by looking at how I actually speak. Go look at interviews of me, videos of me, and rewrite this in the way that I actually speak. And it was so much better. It sounded like me. And I realized AI did something that I couldn't do. It gave me my voice, my speaking voice. It wrote in my speaking voice, and I am not capable of doing that. So AI did a better job of being me in that moment than I could be. And I'm like,
what a
that's
paradox, isn't it?
yeah, it is a bit of a it's a little bit crazy, but at the same time, I had this sense of awe and wonder that, "Oh, I can be better because of this." And so this is a really interesting question because AI is really capable and we are so early on yet. I mean, you're sitting there going, if AI can run these reports, it can tackle and do all the analysis, then what am I left with doing? And I'll tell you the 20% that I did better than AI across the board in that little experiment of mine. There were places where I was exercising my humanity. I was bringing myself into that interview. I was tapping into reserves of empathy in the moment. I could synthesize ideas that were being created at that particular point. I was taking a conversation I had with somebody the week before and integrating it. That wasn't in AI yet. So it gave me hope to say, I can let AI take care of all these things that it can do really well. These tedious, repetitive, uh, data intensive things like my knowledge base. AI knows so much about my everything I've created than I do. And then let me do the things that it cannot do. And it's something we talk about in the book. It's this idea of integrated intelligence, where AI does what it does so well. You learn how to do that, you master that, and you use that extra capacity that you get not to do more work, but to
Mm.
invest in your humanity, the things that make you unique, your empathy, your ability to have self reflection, your intuition, your judgment, your wisdom. And when you can do that, you become superhuman. And imagine if you are a CEO and you give your people that incredible capability, you give them all the best that AI can do, but you encourage them to use AI to be better humans. And when you have an organization filled with superhumans, what could you do with? And in the end, I don't. If we only think about AI as allowing us to do more work in less time, I think we're missing
Mm.
the point.
I'm with you.
And this is where I think it's so important for leaders to say to step back. And this is why we wrote about this in the leadership chapter that you need to give the people, your people, the opportunity to maximize their potential, to maximize their humanity. And so think about using AI to do that, to make work more human, to make work more joyous, even. And what could that do for your organization?